How's everyone doing tonight? Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas yesterday. Almost 2025. Um, don't really have any big topics for tonight. I just figured I would do my weekly duties, staying consistent as one should. Uh, so yeah, as always, I'm gonna be here hanging out for the next hour to 2.5, 3 hours. We'll see where the night takes us. But how was everyone's Christmas? Let me know that first when you hop in. Hopefully everyone had a great one of those. Any big plans for the New Year's? I know me. Let me start by recapping a little bit. Exciting things as Christmas always is. We had multiple places to go on Christmas Eve. We had a couple places we go. We did our own thing with our kids at home on Christmas Day as well. The night we got home at like 10 o'clock. We got home. I'm glad I went with 10:30 start time because we got home later than I expected. Kids were having a good time, seeing some friends. Tomorrow night we have another Christmas with my parents. Sunday we have another one with the in-laws. So yeah, we have like 5 individual days of Christmas where we're going exchanging gifts, family, friends. Two big things in the Pokemon space. So I got my son Pokemon Scarlet. He started his adventure today. I think he's a little bit young for it. I don't know why Pokemon going back to Yellow, which I realize is off screen, but this isn't my original sealed Kiwi Game Boy Color. But I started with Pokemon Yellow back in 1999 or 2000 on that machine, and at that point, you were reading everything. I was 9, I was 10, so I was more ready for that. My son's 6 still. The amount of wordiness that Pokemon games have and all the menus you have to just button mash A through. He wanted to like get the story, so I was reading it to him. We got evil catch 'em all collectibles in here welcoming people in. I was reading it's like, why can't this just be audible? Why can't this be read aloud to my 6-year-old so that he can play? I mean, I don't have a problem reading it for him, but the issue is he can't play on its own really. He needs to have me or mom there to help him read unless he wants to take an hour to get through each prompt. But he's really excited. He did his first battle. I did not sway him whatsoever. My daughter was there watching. My daughter said she would have picked Quaxley, like I would have picked. Like I would have picked. I haven't played a Pokemon game. I did start Moon. My buddy had Sun, so I got Moon. I started it, but I never got very far. I've not played a Pokemon game like extensively since Sapphire. I beat entirely Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Crystal way back when, but I dropped off midway through Sapphire, and then I tried coming back with Moon, and I didn't end up beating the game. My son, though, I'm sure will beat Scarlet. I'm sure he'll get there eventually. But yeah, he started Scarlet, and I also downloaded TCG Pocket on his phone. So he has not like an actual cell phone plan. He's only 6. Him and my daughter, they play Pokemon Go on our old phones. We tether our internet to they don't have their own plans, and they're limited in their screen time as children their age should be. I mean, even adults should be limited in their screen time. Mine's up there. Mine's too high. But Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles, hoping we all had a nice Christmas. I did. Thank you, Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles. I hope you did as well. But yeah, TCG Pocket. His first pack, my daughter's first pack. They both pulled some kind of EX. I already forget which one. But my son went through. They give you tons of bonuses. They've got the special holiday bonuses going on now. Not going to ever put any money into it. But I think he opened like 8 packs. And he got a pretty high hit rate. Both my son and my daughter had a pretty high hit rate. So we did like the advent calendar. We did every day in December. My kids would get a little gift. I bought a Pokemon advent calendar from Pokemon Center. My wife would put some change in it. My daughter would count how many pieces of change were in it, and then my son would have to add all the pieces of change. So my daughter would count that there was 2 pennies and 2 dimes and 2 quarters, and my son would have to add up what all that was, and then they would earn that money. They'd get little candies in there, and they'd get Pokemon packs every day. Their pull rates, I didn't like document it closely. I guess I could look back at their binder. They were hitting like higher than 1 out of 3. The packs were pretty juicy. They did well. They did in some of the sets. Obviously, Crown Zenith. some of the sets are just inherently more pulls with all the glaring galleries but yeah, they did really well. Basically what I did was I went like 24 sets back in time. So whatever 24 sets ago was, that's where they started, and they opened every set through it. Evolving Skies, they didn't open anything. They didn't hit anything massive. I want to say the most expensive card my son just pulled out of his stocking. There was a couple leftover cards. Sorry, leftover packs. I think they started with Sword and Shield base all the way to current. But he pulled like a $16, $17 trainer card, gold trainer card. That was his most valuable. So they didn't pull anything crazy expensive, but they were hitting a lot of Vs, old school EXs, whatever. Oh, we got how's it going, PK? Nice to see you in here. For whatever reason, I can't share the raid notice, but it looks like PK is raiding us, so it's gonna be getting pretty busy in here. Thanks, PK, for raiding. I know Thursday night, PK actually completed. He completed his goal. So talking about New Year's resolutions, goal setting, staying consistent, all those good things. PK streamed, including on Thanksgiving. He streamed every night, every Thursday night. His start times fluctuated a little bit. 9:15 almost every Thursday night. A couple times it was 9:30, maybe it was 10 o'clock once or twice. But shout out to PK, 52 straight Thursday streams. I don't know. I was at a holiday thing. I was at a Christmas thing tonight. So I didn't get a chance to listen, but I definitely will listen tomorrow. I don't know if he mentioned his intent for 2025. Is he sticking with Thursdays every Thursday for 2025? But yeah, it was really cool to see him close that out, close out 2025 on a high, or 2024 on a high note, rounding out his initial goal. I was worried when he said it for every Thursday. My initial thought was like Thanksgiving. That's gonna be a tough one, but he did it. So yeah, because consistency is a big thing for me for this channel. I'm never gonna be a massive channel by any means, but I think I am where I am because of my consistency over the past going on 4 years. 4 years this March, I believe. But yeah, any questions? Feel free to leave them in the chat. Anyone new here from PK? Feel free to leave your questions. I know PK, he does his long rant thing, 15, 20, 30 minutes. He'll rant about whatever the latest hot topic was. I think something about an investing rug pull. I saw in the thumbnail, it had Terrestrial Festival. So presumably he was talking about the $40, $40, 10,000 quantity Terrestrial Festival listings on TCG Player. I did see that as well. If anyone has any questions outside of Pokemon, generally we try to stick to Pokemon here. But if you want to talk about anything else, let me know. Yeah, I'm hanging out for the next hour. I don't think I've ever done a live under an hour, so it'll probably be at least that. But if we want to wrap up after 60, 90 minutes, we'll do that. If we want to go 2-3 hours, we'll probably do that as well. Merry Christmas to you as well, Snuffleupagus. I'm going to make my way through the... yeah, I started to say, PK usually does a rant at the outset, and then he'll catch up with chat later. Sometimes I come in with a rant of sorts, but tonight I don't have too much. I talked a little bit, recapped my Christmas adventures, and then I'm excited for next week. Next week, it's interesting. I live in quite a bit nicer, bigger house than I used to. My starter home I lived in for the first several years with my wife. We had one kid there, and then we moved to a bigger house, had our second and final child. And I used to host a lot more there. I guess it's easier before kids, before the pandemic, all that stuff. But I want to get back into hosting people more at my house. My house is set up significantly better now than my former house was for hosting. So New Year's Eve, I'm actually hosting. I'm gonna do like a crab boil. I'm gonna do seafood boil, crab legs, shrimp, clams, scallops. I'm gonna throw some andouille sausage in there, potatoes. I'm gonna do some steaks as well. I've got some picanha. I'm gonna throw on the smoker, get a little bit of reverse sear action going. Some tenderloin, some ribeye, all kinds of stuff. Gonna be a nice get together with some family. So looking forward to that. But yeah, that covers my Christmas escapades and then my looming New Year's ones as well. Football wise, I enjoy watching a lot of football. I'm wearing a Mets jersey. Not the Jets season, not the Mets season. Doesn't seem to be the Rangers season. So sports are doing what they're doing. I'm still having a good time watching them. But Empire of Nostalgia says Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, you filthy animals. I've watched a lot of Home Alone the past couple of weeks. A classic. Corsby Gaming says Merry Christmas. Thank you. SDC says 7 likes. Come on, people, do better. It's almost 2025. Love you all from Hawaii, and love to you, PK. Jaron G. Jaron or I don't know if it's Jaron or Jaron. Merry Christmas. I have 2 test tube Mewtwo's, and they both have white speckles on the back. Other than that, they're super clean. How would that affect the grading? It could get anywhere from an 8 to a 10. I always say that 99% of the time, they are plus or minus 1. And you'll never know exactly. But a card like that, given its value, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what its value is, but I would send that. If it's solid otherwise, and it has a couple white specks on the back, I would send it. I've seen cards like that with a 10. I've seen cards like that with an 8. But that card, quite valuable if you hit the 10. So I would chance it, honestly. Welcome in, Raiders. Hit that like button. Appreciate you, SDC. Kevin Clear, how's it going? Chemo. Yeah, likely PSA 9, but like, do the math on it. How much does a 9, if at all, how much does that punish you? Sometimes the 9s are not very punishing at all, and the 10s are significantly rewarding. So even if it's only a 5 or a 10% chance of hitting a 10, sometimes the math still works to where that's plus EV to take the gamble. That's always my take on it. Let the graders do their grading. I'm not a professional grader. And sometimes they tend things that I personally think they shouldn't, but they do. So yeah, I'm not going to argue with the experts. Richard Waters just got into the hobby about a month ago. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Cashmere Fire needs a play. I mean, I paid a 10% premium to market, and this card has done nothing but go up. This one, I can't believe what's going on. I shipped some cards. Shout out to ZNG Emporium. Over the next month or two, you will every week see cards at ZNG Emporium, and you will see every week cards with my Fanatics consignment service. I'm selling my own cards, so it's not really consignment, but I'm selling mine and John's Van Gogh Pikachus from our play that has turned into just unimaginably better payoff than I would have expected. Better payoff than it should have ever had any rights being. But I texted James today. I'm like, hey, probably list the Van Goghs like $30 higher each than I requested. Because I forget when I sent them. Maybe last week. I think I sent them last week, and I requested I think I sent 10 for buy it now, some for auction. I think the auction ones are already up, but the buy it nows haven't gone up yet. I think I requested anywhere between $500 and $530 for a buy it now list price. And as of today, low list on Van Gogh is like $540, $530, $540. So I'm like, yeah, list them $30-$40 higher than I originally had said. Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild what that is going on, what that card has going on. Dan the Catch a Man has got me setting smart goals for 2025. Love it. Talking to Basic, I might make this my video Monday. What did he call it? Dumb goals, or don't underestimate the modern boom. I should have made my live stream that, but I might make that my title. I'll have to shout out Basic Trainer if I do. But he did a story replying to me, DUMB, don't underestimate the modern boom. And I think this would be a perfect card to put on the thumbnail. Maybe I guess I could do a recap of this play for Monday. We'll see what I end up doing, but I've not yet recorded my video for Monday. I need to figure that out. What do you think the ratio of collectors to investors is? It's a wild guess, but if I was forced to guess, and I'll be interested to hear what others have to say. Some might think I'm crazy, but I think there are 100 collectors to every investor. I think we are, I'm 6'4" 3/4. That puts me in the 99th percentile for height. I think investing to the level, especially to the level that some of us do, we are so far above the 99th percentile as far as engagement in the hobby, as far as percent of net worth in the hobby, as far as percent of, or even just raw capital contributions to the hobby. We are in deep. We are in very, very deep. I think, and for every YouTube channel like this, like mine, like PK's, we talk about being at the end of a long rabbit hole. For every one channel like ours, there are 100 that are more mainstream, just opening product and doing that more mainstream type of content. It's wild. I mean, 12 billion cards. 12 billion cards were printed last year, and by many metrics, it wasn't enough. Think about how crazy that is. 12 billion cards were printed, almost 2 Pokemon cards for every human on the planet. And the latest set is $220 a box or whatever Surging Sparks is right now. It's absolutely wild. Like how many over a million of these. Over like if you do the math, over a million booster boxes of every set are printed. And it's not enough. It's not enough right now. Someday they overshoot it? Will it be a little bit too much? Maybe. But as of right now, like it is mind-blowing how strong the hobby's going. And you got to just ride the wave while it's here, right? Got to ride the wave and enjoy it while it's here. Hopefully it'll be here for a lot longer. But I truly don't know. SDC says, I'm slowly backing out of the hobby like Homer into the bushes. Good timing. We'll find out 6 months, a year from now. We will find out with one of the most powerful things, hindsight. Hindsight's a very powerful thing. No amount. I've never found anybody better than Captain Hindsight at telling us what has happened. Going back and seeing Babyface Dan is wild. Merry Christmas. Hope you and your family are doing well and enjoying this holiday season. Yeah, it is wild. It's wild to think. It feels like this is me now. Like this has always been me. This beard. It's so weird to look back at pictures. Like my early YouTube videos, it's so weird to look back at the former backgrounds when there were less shelves, less photos. Like this is just me now. This has always been me. But it's really only been me for a year or two. Pretty wild. We could do a little recap on the Fanatics auction. We could do a recap. I need to I have some consigner payout info. I hope I have my desk camera off. Let me before I switch screens. Okay, it is off. So I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure my camera was off so it didn't show any of the info I have on my desk. I've always got notes. I've always got like consigner, actually a couple packages. I apologize if you had a package land at my PO box today because I did not make it through all of them. Usually I pay out on Wednesdays. I'm not gonna pay out on Christmas Day, so I did consigner payouts today, and there was a lot of sales. There was a lot of sales over at Fanatics the last couple of weeks, so that was busy. And yeah, I unfortunately didn't get everyone paid out same day whose stuff landed at my PO box today, but I will first thing tomorrow morning. Let me catch up with chat, and then at some point I will pull up Fanatics for sure. And I can actually give insight too, because I've had some people reach out like, hey, what you think about, I had my office hours earlier today. Again, I normally do those on Wednesdays, but I did it on today because I wasn't going to do it on Christmas. So I had like Java. Java was live earlier tonight. I'm sure he might be in here at some point. Maybe he's gone to bed. I think he might go to bed a bit earlier than I do oftentimes. But a lot of times he'll do his lives earlier in the night and often raid the stream and then take off to bed before I end. But he asked me earlier today, I believe it was him, how I thought about the trophy sale, and it's not paid yet. So I don't have too many thoughts until it's actually a real sale, real paid sale. I actually haven't checked. I checked earlier today. I did my consigner payouts, but let me check live at the moment. Let me do some tracker checking on my payouts and see if it's been paid yet. The trophy's still not been paid. A couple of the art academies have, but most of them, I guess, yeah, most of them haven't been yet. Two of them have been. 4 of them haven't been. So that's the way that it goes, though. One thing I've noticed with Fanatics is that I consistently get significantly higher payout ratios than pay percentages. Lower unpaid rate than I did on eBay ever. Historically speaking, I probably averaged 7-8% unpaid on eBay. And I've talked with different sellers on eBay, and they echo similar. 1 in 12, 1 in 13 transactions won't pay. With Fanatics, it's like 1 in 30. It's like 97% get paid. 96 to 97, 98%, depending on the week, depending on the day, which is great. But they do get longer to pay. So on Fanatics, I occasionally will have a consigner consign with me and say like, hey, it sold Sunday. Today's Wednesday. It's payout day. Am I ready to be paid yet? I should put together better data on this. Maybe only half like 50, 60% pay within 3 days. So I can't pay you until they pay me. So on like Wednesday morning, I'm probably only paying out on 60% of so items that sold the prior Sunday. But by the next Sunday, it's probably like 90%. And then 2 weeks, Fanatics, sometimes you get up to 2 weeks to pay. It's like 97%. So I think it's better overall. I wish they would tighten up on the duration that people get to pay. But if they did that, it would be at the cost of less people would pay overall. You give people 2 weeks to pay, more people find the money, figure out their cash flow situation. You give people only 3 days to pay on eBay, well, you do that at the cost of now 7% of people. Twice as many people or slightly more won't pay. So it is what it is. Thoughts on the new Chinese Collect 151 journey? I saw some different artworks. I saw my boy Quaxley featured on a full art, so I'm going to have to grab that card. I'm excited. It's new set, best set, as always. New set, best set. So yeah, that's always my stance. Who is your favorite trainer and why is Marnie best girl? I'd give a boring answer. Like, I only really watched the anime extensively in the first generation. I've rewatched Indigo League with my kids. Rock, Misty, Ash. Those are the original trainers. I'd probably give the most basic answer and say my favorite trainer is Ash. When is the perfect time to exit the hobby? There's no singular perfect time. It's always depends on you, your specifics. The answer is very case by case. Depending on what your goals are in life. Like, if you stop enjoying the hobby, especially, like, if you stop enjoying the hobby when things are at record highs, what a great time to stop enjoying the hobby. You can sell everything you own, formerly enjoyed, no longer enjoy, and you can do it at record highs, and you can do it at record liquidity, and you can find your way out with great financial reward. So, like, today, if today is right for you, and if not, maybe it's 5 years, 10 years, 20, like, whenever you're ready. Very personal answer. Let's see. Did Santa leave me any Bubble Mew plays under the tree? I don't have any Bubble Mews actively going. I've been primarily buying. I did the big buy with John with Pokemon Radar at Chicago. But other than that, I've not done graded edge plays in a while. I've mostly just been buying packs, singles, slabs at 70 to 75%. I was paying 80 to 85% like a month ago, a month and a half ago, whenever that was. But I got buried. I spent a lot of money. I got some backlog, both with Ponga, with PK. So they're set to stream for a while without me sending anything additionally. That said, though, I'm taking this week off. I'm not sending them anything new this week. I did take stuff Monday. Monday I took stuff. But I'm not sending anything new this week. Next week I'll get back into sending them every week. And I might add a third streamer. I might add a third streamer in 2025. It won't be like January 1st, 2025, which is like under a week away. It will definitely be at earliest late January, maybe even towards February. We might be looking like late Q1, early Q2. I don't know. When I know, I will let people know more thoroughly. But yeah, haven't made a live in a while. Happy holidays. How's the streaming business going? How's it been finding the right supply and the consistency of that supply? So the consistency of that supply is nice because if you need more, just pay more. Like, I have a bigger reach than I would have guessed. And when you start saying that you're paying 80% on stuff, the amount of stuff that will find its way to you is daunting. The amount of stuff that will find its way to you is I spent over $100,000 in one given week. And I lowered my percentage due to that. I lowered my percentage because, as I always say, you don't want to go broke on good deals. When great deals come along, you want to have the liquidity for that. So if I had the ability to spend all that money in 1 week, it's like, I'm going to be broke by the time something comes along. Let me lower my percentage, see what comes in, see what my equilibrium percentage is to get the right amount sourced at the right price that I'm not just buying too much. And right now, 70 to 75% feels to be that number. And it makes sense because, like, that's the most universal number that you hear. And if you got, like, really good stuff, I might pay up a little bit more. But for the general loose packs, for the general stuff, 70 to 75%. That's what a lot of other streamers pay, which makes sense that I would get. If I try to pay 60, no one will sell to me because they'll just sell to everyone else that's paying 70. But if I pay 80, if I pay 75 or 80, a lot of people left it is like, hey, Dan, no hard feelings, but like, I'm not going to sell to you at 70. And I'm like, that's perfectly understandable and fine. They're like, hey, let me know if you're ever paying 80% again on anything. And the way that I'll do that in 2025, I've not yet done it, and I'm kind of scared because this 2-week break for my wife and kids, it's flying by. It's flying by. I mean, they're already almost through 1 week of it, right? And I need to update the website and so many things I need to get done and sorted and update and generate a bunch of new spreadsheets. And then I need to start looking at tax stuff. The amount of like lengthy videos that I need to make to start the new year. Lots of big projects. I actually have the Zoom Patreon thing for the Pokénomics Patreon this Sunday, which I've not yet prepped for. So that's a lot of work that I need to do between now and Sunday. Video for Monday. Yeah. But the streaming business is going really well. Less than 90 days into it. I think January 4th or 5th will be 90 days into it. And then I'll make a 90-day review video within a couple weeks after that for YouTube. I'm excited for that. My thing for Sunday, for the Pokénomics Patreon thing, I might actually do like a little preview of that, deeper dive. I guess less of a preview, more of a deeper dive. Yeah, I'm leaning towards that. I've not yet fully decided though, like 2 or 3 weeks before. Bink says they gave me a 9 for 1 with the specs across the back, weird printing. I've seen those that have gotten 10s. I've seen those that have gotten 8s. So 8 to 10, depending. Thoughts on original MetaZoo with the upcoming revival in Q1 2025? I'm very excited. I'm excited to interact with it in some way. I do not yet know what way I will be interacting with it. There's a lot of questions that I don't have answers to, and until I have answers to them, I don't know how I'll proceed. I used to be a partner. I bought 500 boxes of native for $56 a box, and general distribution pricing on that was like 70 something. So I had access to the product at like a 30% discount to what wholesale was because I was a partner. I don't know if that relationship will or can exist in MetaZoo 2.0, Meta 2, whatever you want to call it. If it's coming through distributors only, and say I can get, like, it might be brick and mortar exclusive. It might be like sports cards. It might be like Magic cards. I might not be able to buy it even through distribution. If I can only buy it as a consumer for nostalgic reasons, like I'll probably buy a box of every set. I will probably buy a little bit to interact with it. If I can get it as an online retailer only, at 70 something, like I can get Pokemon. Well, Pokemon I pay 90 now, but I think that's what MetaZoo used to be. And I don't know if MetaZoo will be. If it used to be 75, I paid 56 as a partner, but will it be 85? Will it be 95? I have no idea. So I need to see what the pricing is. I need to see. Maybe I'll have a live streamer that runs MetaZoo. Who knows? But I'm going to do something with it. It might be buying a box, maybe buying 2 boxes, opening one, keeping one sealed as a collector, purely. Or it might be running a full-fledged MetaZoo streaming business and investing in some amount of the sealed product and opening it. I opened this en masse because no one else was doing it. If a lot of other people are doing that and the market doesn't seem to be there for me to do that well, I won't. But yeah, there's a lot of potentials for what I might do with it. I don't know. There's too many unknowns around it yet. So I'll wait to see how those develop. Curtis Letty saying the same thing. A lot of those test tube Mewtwo's have those dots, and I've seen 10s. How's it going, Pokemon Dentist? Nice to see you in here. Merry Christmas to you as well. Dan won again. Wow. Must be talking about when I was talking about the Van Goghs. I don't know. Appreciate you, Shiny Typhoon, joining the Patreon. Yeah, Graded Edge. Hopefully that works out well for you. I've not been making extensive Graded Edge plays, but I've made some from time to time. Usually what I'll do is I'll go a couple months, and then I'll drop 10, 20, 30 grand all at once. It would be better if I could just spend a couple grand a week or whatever, but I never find the time to do that, really. There you go. Dope made the first consignment with ZNG. That does indeed make you big time. I tried it myself. So with eBay, I tried it myself. I can't give you exact specifics. If you do the math, like look at what James charges for consignment, and you'll get an idea for what he pays in fees. look at what he's charging, and you can get a pretty good idea at what his fees are. I'm not gonna. I did the math. He's never told me. I've never asked him, but I have a pretty good idea of what James pays eBay for fees. I never got a good setup to where I was in talks with them, and it just didn't work out. It wasn't gonna make sense. But what I did do, if you look at what I charge, similar as I was just saying with James, if you look at what I charge with Fanatics, you can have a pretty decent idea on what I pay. I mean, you know a number that I pay less than that at minimum. So I tried for a long time, and I sold $1.3 million. A lot of that was through the eBay vault, but I sold $1.3 million in 1 year, and I didn't get to where it made sense for me to get a special rate with eBay, which is crazy to think. And I never would have believed it if you told me years ago that I would get there, one, and then two, that it wouldn't be enough. But I didn't get there with eBay, so I sell some through James's eBay, and it's like a win-win because I help pump his numbers up. If all of us collectively pump his numbers up enough, his rates might even get better. Similarly with my Fanatics, like if you want to sell on eBay, you can do your own thing. You can try to build your brand, do all that stuff. But the amount of people that I know that consign with me on Fanatics, that consign with James on eBay, a lot of our he has a lot more consigners than me overall, but a lot of my biggest consigners consign with him as well. They optimize what goes to Fanatics, what goes to eBay. And the amount of people that like just lurk in the shadows, you wouldn't know their name. They might not have an Instagram even, but they do like multi six figures a year, if not seven figures in a year. And they do business at such a high level, but they do it through other people's names, other people's brands. They consign with Heritage, Golden. They don't individually pack and ship any orders. It's wild the amount of people out there doing that at a massive level. And to an extent, I'm doing it myself. Like I am sending maybe a third of these to Fanatics, and then a third of these to James, and then selling a third privately. I sold 25 consecutive PSA 10s for what is currently, I mean, they've gone up another 10% the last week. So that guy got a good deal as of today's prices. It's wild though. But yeah, that whole rant and ramble kind of saying to like, I never would have thought I'd been doing it, but I'm winding down my eBay in a lot of ways in favor of my Fanatics and James's eBay because it just makes sense. Makes sense to let someone else do the work. Me with Fanatics, well, Fanatics with Fanatics, but through my filter, through all that stuff, or eBay with James. Any quick tips for growing my collection in the CAD market? It's tough up here. Yeah, unfortunately, you're just going to pay higher frictional costs. I don't know if you guys have extensive import fees, but if there are large import fees, ideally just try to find someone domestic. But you're just going to have to deal with higher shipping fees. I actually have some regular customers that are in Hawaii, and it's harder. It's a bigger hurdle. I can't ship nearly as cheaply as I can with people that live in Hawaii. I can't ship. I don't ship directly to anyone in Canada. But yeah, it's just a barrier you have to overcome. That said, it will lower your competition to some extent. Because you're dealing with that additional barrier, to some extent, it will decrease your competition. So it'll be harder to do it, higher hurdles, higher barrier to entry. But because of that, you will also potentially have less competition for it. So maybe you can get a slightly premium on your sales prices and things. Did I send the seller of that promo case to you? I mean, I paid a 10% premium over market, 10 to 15% premium over market on that case. So I actually am going to be sending something to Rainbow Jim, who helped facilitate that deal going down. She put me in touch with them, so I very much appreciated that. I definitely need to take care of her as she helped me and John close that deal. There's one player for every 5,000 collectors. That's probably a good number there. Yeah, 1 in 1,000 plays the game. Here's people doing their estimates for how many collectors to every investor. See, 80-20, I think that's way off. Like, what number did I say? 80-20 would mean there's 4 collectors for every investor. I think I said, did I say 50? No, I said 100. I said 100 to 1, which would be 99-1. not 80/20. I think I saw your dad saying he wishes he bought more for the pallet. Dan's dad looking like a genius. I was actually talking with my dad tonight. I was at a little Christmas event. My dad was there, and I don't want to make a firm commitment yet. Maybe he's listening right now, but my dad might do a live stream with me at some point, and we might do it around the 1 year anniversary of building Palette 1. Maybe we will do it when we fully finalize Palette 2 and start Palette 3. We can recap the past year. We can look forward to what's coming up, what we're going to build next onto the next palette. So potentially stay tuned for a Catch 'em All Collectibles and Catch 'em All's dad stream. That might be in the works. So I'm excited for that potentially for 2025. We'll see if he comes through on that. How's it going, old man dirt? With low capital needing high percentage accurate plays, do you feel like Graded Edge is my best option, liquidating everything and trying to establish direction for 2025? Graded Edge helps, for sure. Like Graded Edge is not any unique information. If you have the time, you can find all the information yourself that is in Graded Edge. But it's just a time saver. Like if you want to pay $10 a month for the Patreon, it might save you 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day if you're looking at 1 or 2 cards. If you're trying to look at like 50 cards a day, it might save you an hour, 2 hours a day for all the days that you're looking at it. Not every single day of your life. But it's a pretty obvious thing to me if you're like, in worst case, you spend $10, you try it out. Like don't book the Patreon on the 26th of the month. Because the way that it works, Patreon charges every month. So on January 1st, on January 2nd, buy it then, and then go in and try it out. See what we have in our backlog. Hop into an office hour. See if you like it. And if you don't, you're out $10. It's like, you ever go somewhere for lunch and you didn't have like a very good, satisfying lunch, and it's like, oh man, I can't believe, well, $10. I mean, maybe 25, $30. You go somewhere for lunch and it's like, crap, that lunch wasn't what I hoped it would be. Whatever. Dinner's coming soon. Next meal's coming. Like, who cares? $10 gone, $20 gone. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And then if you enjoy it, if you get the value out of it, stick with it. Stick with it for as long as you want to. Take a break from it for a year. Come back to it a year later. Like, the barrier, the hurdle that you need to overcome, it's not like it's a $1,000 course. It's a $10 monthly subscription that you can cancel at any time, and you get access to multiple years worth of backlog at this point. So do it on the first, dive deep into it, and see if it's worth it to you. I do remember breaking product for celebrations, and I was selling crazy raw prices on those cards. Better lamb or ham? Ham, I would say. Lamb is good, but it's not I would pick ham over lamb. Better bacon or socks? Bacon. Pokemon or cake? Pokemon. Aiden says, happy Christmas, Dan. Hope you and the family had a great day. All the best for 2025. Likewise, I appreciate you. Those Paldean adventure chests at 28, goodbye. Should I buy? There's so much air in them. The product is interesting. All the promos in there. That one really nice promo. Do the math on what's in it, though. Do the math and see. It's probably plus EV to break down to some extent. Can you plus EV breaking down and actually selling them and paying platform fees? Probably not. You probably can't pay shipping. You probably can't pay all the fees associated with getting rid of it. But yeah, I like them. I just can't store them. I don't invest in those myself because there's too much air. Way too much air. Yeah, I don't know what Native's doing right now, but I had heard and seen that it's been going up a little bit. I just don't have any listed because I only have my sealed 4 cases left that I want to sit on. Kashmir Fire says, I'd rather sell an expensive card as a PSA 9 than raw. Yeah, selling as a PSA 9, you're more likely to have no issues with the sale. You're more likely to have like, hey, here's an agreed upon third party that says that this is a mint 9 card. You're less likely to get someone mad about the condition, whatever it may be. Note says question for Danner's ENG Emporium. I've heard January is usually slower for auctions. Should I wait for tax refund season to sell at this point, or does the current boom override past trends? I've always been one to say always be buying, always be selling. I've never bought in extensively to the seasonality arguments. Like the amount of times that I've heard someone say, "Oh well, this is always a slow month for Pokemon, but like this time it's a little bit different, X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be." And it's like I don't buy into it at all. I'm going to be auctioning all throughout every month in 2025. Auctioning my own stuff, auctioning consigner stuff. And I'm not just saying always be auctioning because I run a consignment thing. That is, like, as I always give you disclaimers, I'm biased when I tell you to always be selling because I offer consignments and I make money when you consign through me. So know my bias, but I am saying something that I fully do and believe in. I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm not just trying to get your business. So I sell always and I buy always. The refund thing is always interesting to me because, like, oh, should I wait for April? Should I wait till April for refunds? I used to work with a bunch of people that almost all of them, especially the ones who really needed the money, they didn't get their refunds in April. They got their refunds on February 1st. They got refund anticipation loans from Jackson Hewitt or from H&R Block or whoever. And they were paying extra money to get their money as early as possible. So my take on that is the whole refund, like, that's not really a thing. That's not really a thing because everyone gets their money back different times. Some people owe a lot of money. Some people right now are buying a lot, selling a lot to try to lock in cash basis, zero out their net revenue for the year. Everyone's situation is so different that I don't think any of those generalities around seasonality, I don't think they're actionable. I don't think it makes sense to just close up shop for 6 months out of the year and then only sell in May and November, in September, in July. Like, I don't know what, I can't even keep track of what months are supposed to be good or bad. I've been here for 10 years and I've never paid any mind to the seasonality. I've had my own seasonalities due to when we had children, due to when things got busy at work. I've had my own seasonalities in my business. But I don't buy into any of the broad market seasonalities that people always are talking about. Always. Do you and James consignment for Canadians or US only? I have consigners everywhere in the world. I have Australian consigners, German consigners, consigners from the UK, everywhere. As long as you can get them to my vault address. So if you can get them to my vault address there, you can consign with me. You ship them there with signature required. It's a fully insured process, and we'll get them sold and we'll get you paid out up to 95% of the sales price. So yeah, I pay out in ACH, wire, PayPal friends and family, and then I also pay out in pounds. I pay out in Australian dollars, Canadian dollars. Every week I'm paying out in all different kinds of currencies, and I also pay out in like USDC. If you do crypto, I can't pay out in Tether because I'm in New York. I don't like to pay out in Bitcoin or Ethereum because sometimes I've had people get like mad at me that Bitcoin went down. I paid out at like midnight because I was busy that day, and then Bitcoin went down 5% before they were able to sell it. And it's like, how do you put that on me? You wanted to get paid out in a cryptocurrency. So I just pay out in a stable coin now. I only pay out in USDC. Organic demand versus speculation demand, that's really the $1,000,000 question. Multi-billion-dollar question. I guess at an individual level, it's a $1,000,000 question, but as an industry-wide question, it's a $1,000,000,000 question. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. You could absolutely do that. I don't know the specifics about where you are, how much, if any, competition is in your very local situation, but there's a lot of opportunities. I'll do consignment on MetaZoo now. If you want to send your MetaZoo cards, I actually do sports cards as well. I know James, ZNG Emporium, he's only he's not only Pokemon. He's only TCG, I believe. TCG, I believe, is what he limits it to. He might have a couple. I had one consigner who had a Michael Jordan card that I sent to him. So for certain higher end consigners, he might make a couple exceptions here or there. But generally speaking, James is targeting TCG. I will take anything that Fanatics takes through the Fanatics consignments. Hopefully someday, sealed product will be allowed to go through there again. Unfortunately, as of right now, sealed product cannot go through Fanatics. I'm hopeful that they will bring it back, though, in the future. I look forward to joining Dan being the poor man's Rudy with singles pallets. You feel like a peasant when you see his videos. Yeah, Rudy is doing it at a very high level. I don't think he's doing it at the highest level of anyone, but he's doing it at the highest level publicly, for sure. Does Fanatics ding buyers who don't pay? That's one reason why. So I don't know all the back-end logistics. When someone buys an item on Fanatics, I can't see their details. Occasionally, I've had people ask me, like, hey, do you think the buyer's going to pay? I just had an email earlier. Does the buyer look like someone who's going to pay? Does the buyer have high feedback? None of that is a thing. But to create a Fanatics account is significantly harder than to create an eBay account. eBay accounts are a dime a dozen. You can just create them, one for every email you have. Fanatics, you have to have a phone number. And you can't use like a digital phone number. So if you get banned from Fanatics for non-payment, you're going to have a harder time. Not that you can't create another account. Use your spouse's name, use someone else's phone number, whatever it may be. I'm not advocating you do that. I'm just talking through the mechanics of what people could do. But on eBay, people can do it one after another after another. Fanatics will at some point ban people. I don't know if it's like one unpaid item equals automatic ban for life. But I do know that all things considered, longer payout time frame and harder to create a new Fanatics account and some amount of them banning people yields a 97% payment rate when eBay's more like 93 or so. So eBay has about a 7% unpaid rate per my history, and then Fanatics has about a 3% unpaid rate per my history on my items. I'm trying to link my Patreon to Discord and it just keeps giving me a white screen. Anyone else run into this before? I will say try another browser. If you're using Chrome, try Firefox. If you're using Firefox, try Chrome. I've had a few people reach out. We have a few hundred patrons. We've had some amount of turnover over the years. So we've probably had several hundred different unique people. And I've only had a handful of people that had a really hard time getting into the Discord. Most people found their way in pretty quickly, cleanly, easily. Mountain West says, I have graded edge. That's my current plan. Have 3 cards I picked that I'm charting expenses. We'll evaluate and go from there. I appreciate the response. Yeah, good luck. Hopefully they pan out well. The one that I'm always going back to. It's been weeks since I've bought any Celebrations Charizards. I need to buy some more. Oh wow. So sometimes in Target, those adventure chests are $19.99. I think that's less than I paid wholesale. I can't remember. That's crazy. Yeah, crypto's your main hustle. USDC, yes, USDC is awesome. So New York already allows USDC. They just don't allow USDT. I've had a few people ask me to pay out in Tether. I can't pay out in Tether because it's not legal in New York. I have no insider information. I do speak with people at Fanatics, but I expect them to. I've mentioned it before, but like I think a silver lining of the whole CT scanning situation will be companies being able to offer vetted booster boxes. Vetted more than like, oh hey, the tape on the case looks good. We all got duped, agreed? That whole thing with BBCE. If they could put in, and they wouldn't do it with this because this is like $80 or whatever. If they could put this through a machine and then verify, yes, there are 12 packs and there are hollows in there. I'm not going to tell you which hollows, but that would be great. If that could be a silver lining that comes from all the negativity that surrounded the whole CT scanning thing, that would be great. And maybe it wouldn't be for your, like I used to sell some individual $200 booster boxes through Fanatics. Maybe they'll never take those again. But even if they could do $1,000 and up items, that opens up a lot of sealed cases. That opens up a lot of sealed booster boxes. That would be amazing. Like, it started with 10,000 plus only. I would love to be able to buy base set unlimited boxes on Fanatics. I would love to be able to buy uh Fossil and Jungle first edition booster boxes. I would love to be able to buy verified, known, good product. So anything I can do to do that would be amazing. I would love to be able to consign it for my people too. But we'll see if we get there. I know PK made that video recently. Hold on Phantoms. There was a booster box that came through. I forget what the acronym is. I forget what the company's called. But they consulted with PK to some extent, and it was a resealed box. It was a resealed box, and that's a lot of money. $30,000, $35,000 box that ends up being resealed. So, oh, there you go. Poke and Fun go into your email, find that code. So before you use your PSA credit, use your $20 code Ketchum20. So you can only use Ketchum20 on your first individual transaction. And if you haven't created a Fanatics account, it's kind of like a lengthy process you need to work through. But you need to sign up through the affiliate link, mine or anyone else's. If you do mine, I get 25, you get 25. So you get that 25. Code Ketchum20 you use first gives you 20 off your first buy it now item only. Ponga's live right now, so you could do this right now while we're talking. And then, so first you use code Ketchum20, then you use your 25 in PSA credit. If you use your PSA credit first, then you won't qualify for code Ketchum20. So you do it kind of sucks the way that it works. If you don't use it, you do lose it in the case of Fanatics code Ketchum20. Let me see what Ponga's up to right now. I looked before I went live. He had a big number. I don't know what Ponga's doing tonight. Ponga went live at 8 p.m. and he's done $5,500 in sales. He must have done a couple of big items in the buy it now, because like that's crazy. He did 37 auctions for $3,400. I don't know what I sent Ponga recently, but he's doing like a high-end auction stream. He's averaged $100 an item, or maybe it's more than that. It's 37 buyers. I don't know how many individual auction he's run, but he's done $5,500 in 3.5 hours. He must be doing some crazy. I see that he sold one of his own items, I see, for $640. So not all of that's mine. But Ponga's crushing it right now tonight on Fanatics. He's doing some kind of a big stream somehow. There's a couple different browsers you can try. So as of right now, I do consign graded cards, or if you want to consign raw cards, the way that Fanatics does it is you send a raw card in, CGC can authenticate it for $3. So it does need to be authenticated. If you want to sell, like I wouldn't recommend selling cheap cards through that because the $3 fee adds up. If it's sub 100, then you also pay the $5 surcharge that I charge on sub 120. But if you have like one thing that I know people use from time to time, say they have a PSA 6, they have a card that had a ding that they didn't realize had a ding, and they got a PSA 6. They'll crack it out, they'll sell it through My Fanatics, and they'll get it CGC authenticated, not graded, just authenticated. And you can see in the scans that there's a crease or there's whatever it may be. But yeah, that's a way to get rid of higher end, but maybe not high graded. I've had people do like rough condition gold stars, rough condition base Charizards, rough condition Altards through that CGC authentication service. So it can be raw, but they will have to be authenticated for $3 a card. Trevor says, hey Dan, I have a system where I grade 50 cards with the local shop at 18 per card and then trade some of the return back to them at 75% trade to fund my next submission. Is this too inefficient? That feels reasonable. I mean, I don't know what tier. Grading is more like 13, 14 now, depending on the date, depending on the special. So they might be taxing you a little bit on both sides, but it's not unreasonable either. You don't have to have the membership. You don't have to do the entry. You don't have to do the shipping and all that. So you're saving some money, but Yeah, it's not the most unreasonable thing. Just be aware of how much you're spending and make sure it's worth it to you. 75% is very fair, assuming you're doing like actual sold listings. And if you had something higher end, like I know James has recently done a couple stories where he's buying Moonbryons at 90% and then he's just auctioning them through his eBay. So he'll sell them on consignment for you and he'll net out 93% to you. And a Moonbryon, about $2,000, I would net out 93.33%. So I got James beat by a third of a percent there. But he'll buy them for 90% straight up. So he's buying Moonbryons at like $1,800 right now. So if you're selling back Moonbryons at 75%, I would say don't do that. But if you're selling 50, 60, $80 cards at 75%, that's pretty reasonable. Consigning booster boxes sounds amazing. Seems like eBay is the main option or local if you have a connection. 2026 prediction: CT scanning cases, keeping the best booster box and selling the other 5 will become the norm. It would be surprising if that quickly it got that cheap. Especially if you're talking about like a new set. Like these are $220 booster boxes. But I mean, if it could get to this level, why not just scan a whole pallet? Scan mine and my dad's investment pallet, and then I can figure out exactly which booster box is in that to open, and then sell off the rest at 80%. I doubt we'll get there, but one thing that could have to be grappled with, which is already kind of a thing to an extent, sports. Sports has cases. I'm not talking like a case of 6 booster boxes or 12 booster boxes. Sports has cases that are like an aluminum case, almost like a little piece of luggage, an aluminum case that have like 10 cards in them. And they're like several $1,000s. The math is already there for those to be scanned. And there were allegations, there were some conversations about some of that stuff going on. How much of it actually went on, I have no idea. But absolutely, if there's an opportunity for people to make money deceiving others, they will do it. It's a tale as old as time. Ever since the first money was created, ever since the first deals went down, there were people trying to pull one over on others. So arm yourselves with the information that it exists. Do business with reputable people, and that's the best you can do. Like I said though, I don't think we'll get there that quickly. I don't think it'll be that bad. If you're buying a $100 booster box at release from a Cardinal CNA Games, if you're buying it from P Football Pete, if you're buying it from any of the main Safari Zone, any of the main companies, or Catch 'em All Collectibles on eBay, you're not going to be getting CT scan cases. But if you're buying a loose base set first edition booster box, I'd have a hard time believing any base set first edition booster box that comes up. Even I'm not talking 2026 now. I'm talking 2025. Like I'm not in the market for one. Theoretically, someday I could be. Who knows? I'm not in the market for a base set first edition booster box for a break. But if I was, I would be quite confident that that box was already CT scanned. I would almost require the box to be CT scanned to buy it at this point. You kind of have to. Uh, Somehow I always end up taking the worst path of resistance in hustling singles, few dollar plays at a time. The worst way to grow value. I mean, some people make that their whole business and they do a great job at it. Some people buy bulk $10 per thousand. They pay a cent a card and they buy, it's just a numbers game. They buy tens of thousands of cards. They fizz batch sort them. They Roka sort them. They do a bulk operation on TCG Player and they do it all volume and they make 20, 30, 40 bucks an hour. Like I know of people who do that and everywhere in between. I know of people who do vintage only, modern only, grading only, Japanese only, live streams only, eBay only, consignments only. Like there are so many avenues you can take. Some people do only content. They don't actually buy and sell. They just do content around it. 10 years later, 10 years being in this hobby later, it is wild the amount of liquidity. It is wild the amount of opportunity in so many facets of the hobby. Tried another browser, but that also gave me the same white screen result. Is there another way I can try out? I would. So are you in the Discord? The way that it works, you can get into the Discord, but you won't have the patron role. Getting the patron role is what you need. So make sure your Discord is up to date. Go out of Discord, and then make sure you don't join the Discord any other way than through the Patreon. You should join the Pokenomics Discord through the Patreon, connect it, integrate it, whatever, and then it should just place you in there, give you the patron role, and you should be good to go. As I said, like several hundred people have done this, and I've only had a few people have issues. I wish I knew some underlying similarity that caused their issues, but unfortunately I don't. Would it be worth it to send only 100 plus raw cards? I always tell people, so if you can sign with me, anything under 120, you will pay more to me than you would through Fanatics itself. Anything above 120, 120 to 480, I net 90%, and that's of the total sales price. That's of Hammer plus Buyer's Premium. Anything from 480 to 2400, I net you 93.33% of total sales price. Anything above 2400, I net you 95% of total sales price. So everything above 120, I'm netting you more than you would get on your own Fanatics account. Similar to with James. So James nets you above 100, he nets you 88 or 87%, and then above 1,000, he nets you 93%. You make more money. One disclaimer, he does charge shipping on his listings, kind of an invisible fee of sorts. If you sell a $100 card, you technically net out 88%. So if you sell a $100 card, you get $88, but the buyer pays $105 because the buyer's paying $5 shipping. Similar thing could happen on Fanatics too, to be fully transparent. But one thing with Fanatics that you have as an option, you can actually buy on Fanatics and keep it in your vault and not pay shipping. So there are many instances where someone sells a $2,400 item, the buyer's paying only that $2,400, and I'm netting out 95% of that to the seller, to the consigner. Whereas with eBay, like there's a $5 shipping fee on a $100 sale. That's a 5% invisible fee. I think he charges $8 shipping at 1,000. So $8 shipping on 1,000, that's 0.8%. So that's not too drastic, right? But at $100, at $200, it's a measurable percentage that you should at least be aware it's there. I'm not saying don't consign with him. I consign with James. So yeah, I just want to full disclosure, full disclaimer, all that stuff that I always do. Oh, you can't use an Australian phone number. I was not aware that that was the case. Oh, Ponga said he had to cancel some $1,600 bids. I was wondering, because I'm like, man, Ponga is crushing for a Thursday night. It's like, he didn't even ask me if he could sell these big high-end things. But yeah, that makes sense. That is actually one piece of feedback. PK had that the other night too. PK had to cancel like an $800 bid. I'm like, how's PK selling $6,000 tonight? So when something gets refunded, why is it not taken away from the GMV? I'm noting this for my next chat with Fanatics. But yeah, that makes sense. Now his number's more reasonable. Topps Transcendent is $25,000. That's nuts. JDOS, excited to see how my first consignment with you does. So if you want to sign up for Fanatics, it's in the description below. You have to click the link that says fanatics.live/referral/catchemallcollectibles. If you sign up through that, you get 25. Code catchem20, you get 20. So you get like $45 worth of cards for $5. You have to pay the shipping. That's it. Brad wants me to go to Fort Lauderdale Collecticon. Let me double check when that one is. I don't think that one's completely written off, but that one feels unlikely. March 29th to 30th. That one feels unlikely, but I can't definitively say that I won't do it, I don't think. Yeah, so I could do it theoretically. It is in March. It is not in May, which I'm not looking forward to. Like, I don't like Florida in May to August. I want to leave upstate New York in February to go to Florida, not in summer months. Tons of ways to be and interact in the hobby, do business in the hobby. It's crazy. DM me on Discord if you can't get it figured out. Not in the Discord. I'm trying to connect Patreon to Discord. Shoot me a couple screenshots. I'm catching all collectibles in Discord. So shoot me a couple screenshots. If you can't get it sorted tonight, I will I can't promise that I'll help you tomorrow. I have a very, very busy day tomorrow, but I will do my best to try to help you as soon as possible. It might not be till Monday or Tuesday. But every day is busy. Next week's gonna be busy because it's a short week too. But yeah, feel free to DM me on Discord, and I will help you out with that. I messed with eBay selling video games and a little Pokemon. Come to find it makes way more sense to consign big items. Yeah, I started eBay. I started eBay. My origin story on eBay 20 years ago was going to EB Games in the mall, Electronics Boutique. Actually, I believe it might have been at the time. Like Mason used to be Cardinal Gaming. Now he's CNA Games. Electronics Boutique. I believe that was the progression. It used to be Electronics Boutique, and then in the mall it turned into EB Games. But I tried selling a couple old PlayStation 2 games, and they offered me pennies. So instead I went and I started an eBay and I sold them and I got a bunch of money. And then by the time I paid the fees and the shipping, I went to the post office. I bought their padded envelopes instead of buying these on eBay for like 60 cents a piece or 20. I don't remember how much I paid for these. I think I think it's like 10 cents a piece actually, not 60 cents a piece. I think I buy 500 for $50. But anyways, I bought those for like $3 a piece at the counter at the post office. So by the time I netted everything out, I need to find, now that I think about it, I probably have that spreadsheet somewhere. That's like one of the first eBay spreadsheet I ever created. I need to find that because that's probably saved somewhere. Anyways though, a lot of the big items it makes more sense. Like you net more money. If I'm not advocating for anything, but if you don't want to bother with a 1099 from the government, you don't get one through consignments. You don't have to legally. So that's huge. That's huge to be able to sell and net more money and not do the work. Damn, the only members you got in the chat is Sky and me. You fell off, Dan. we got yeah, not too many members in here. But that's a sign of growth in the hobby. I mean, earlier this year I was streaming to 40 or 50 people. Disproportionately, more of them would have been members probably. But now it's like I'm streaming to, how many people do I have? 105 people watching, more than double my yearly average. Definitely coming down. Well, I don't know if this is an indicator of things to come, but probably 4 weeks ago-ish, 3 or 4 weeks ago-ish, was the peak for my YouTube live viewership. Does that mean the market has peaked? Does that mean, like the YouTube viewership, we're going to be on the way down? Or is that just a me thing? It very well may be a me thing. But I've noticed that. I've noticed that my all year long, my live viewership was 40 to 60. And then out of nowhere, like flipping on a light switch, it went to, like 8 weeks ago, it went to like 100. And I had one live stream that I peaked at 200 concurrent viewers out of nowhere. Crazy. And now we're kind of trickling back down. We're trickling back down to, I think I peaked today, right now 112. I think I have 120, 130 earlier today. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Riding the wave, ebbs and flows, all that good stuff. Mason gifted 5 memberships, so now we got some more members in the chat. Appreciate you, Mason. The young Bambino was the recipient of one of those. Brad was baiting someone to do the gifting. Appreciate you, Brad. Appreciate you, Mason, as well. Appreciate Brad for baiting Mason into gifting the 5. Probably because no one could spell boutique, just like no one knows how to spell and space cardinal. I know at some point my final form will almost certainly be KA or KAC. KAC Games, KAC, I don't know. Catch 'em all collectibles though. 20 characters. Way too many characters. The amount of platforms that don't allow you to have 20 characters in your username is very, very high. It's very, very annoying. I'm Catch 'em all C on a lot of different platforms. yeah, my branding is not great. Maybe someday, probably not anytime soon, but maybe someday I will evolve into KAC Games, KAC Gaming, KAC Collectibles is just such a long word. It'll be tough. Ugh. Shout out to underscore retrospects. Underscore retrospects on IG on Instagram. Mason is a satisfied customer buying boxes. He got them in 2 days from Japan. So for all your Japanese sealed needs, I did see Retro's question earlier. Retro's story earlier. He some Japanese holiday. I don't know if it's to do with the New Year or what it is, but I think he said orders are closed between now and the New Year. So for the next week-ish, orders are closed. But underscore retrospects on Instagram for all your Japanese sealed needs. He does all my fulfillment, very trusted. He does all my fulfillment of my eBay Japanese sealed items. So yeah, he's a friend and a business partner, and go buy from him. Go buy from Mason too. Mason runs CNA Games, cnagames.com. Similarly, I've bought and sold with him a little bit here and there. Met him in person, great guy. The highest level vouch that I can do for both those gentlemen and their businesses. Question for any and all pillars: are we bullish or are we bullish? We are indeed bullish. Answering that as a non-pillar. I'm not a pillar, but I'm answering the question anyway, since I'm here. I don't plan on anytime soon selling significant amounts of crypto. I think if anything, I might sell a tenth or a quarter of a Bitcoin and play the game of like, let me sell high, try to buy back in lower if and when it goes down. But I have the most Bitcoin I've ever had, but I don't have like a lot. I don't have 2 Bitcoin. I have 1.5-ish, maybe somewhere in that vicinity. It's a lot of money, but also selling all of that doesn't I can't retire from that. It doesn't drastically change anything. I don't have any debt to pay off. So I'm just sitting tight on it. I'm sitting tight on it. Maybe someday it'll be $1 million a Bitcoin. And then by then, maybe that amount of money won't have anything drastic like moving the needle. But who knows? Who knows? I'm riding the wave with crypto too. Pokepools Paradise just did a Facebook trade. Is there value for someone from Australia joining the Discord, or are the conversations primarily North America focused? There are people from all over the world in the Discord. I can't say, like, I'm a very biased person. I think for $10 a month, this is the answer I always give. So right here, right now, I'm answering any and all of your questions for free. This is like, our biggest competitor is the amount of free information out there. So I answer questions every week on YouTube for free. In Discord, it's a little more intimate. It's a little more private, right? We put up that paywall, and you can't enter without paying the price of admission. So here, anyone can be here. Anyone and everyone can be here. We got 100-something people hanging out. Earlier today, I did my office hour. 1 hour a week, I go into Discord voice, and you can ask questions. I think earlier today, at the start, I had 3 to 5 people. By the end of it, an hour and a half later, I had 12, 15 people maybe. So it's a little bit more intimate, a little bit more smaller community size. You can get your questions answered more quickly. But I answer all the questions here too for free. And then for $100 an hour, 1 hour consultation, or $50 for half an hour, I do one-on-one. I'll do a video call on you one-on-one. There's no chat. There's no like onlookers in the Discord voice. It's just me and you one-on-one. And I think all of them can be good value. I'm very biased, and I would say asking the right questions, I think they're all worth significantly more than is charged. I've done some consults with people for $100 in 1 hour that might have saved them thousands of dollars if they had the wrong mindset about something, if they had the wrong understanding of something, and I steered them on the right path. Similar thing with the Patreon. There might be someone that goes in for $10 a month. There might be someone that goes in and makes $2,000 a month off Graded Edge alone. There might be someone that goes in and watches one of our old videos, utilizes one of our spreadsheets, watches one of our old presentations, makes some business connection, or launches their own YouTube channel. There might be someone that gets thousands of dollars of value off of $10 a month. But all that said, there might be people that get all those things off free YouTube videos as well. So like, I'm very conscious, Jake and myself are very conscious of the fact of the amount, like there's tons of free content out there that's really, really good. There's a bunch out there that's pretty bad too. There's probably a bunch of, and I wouldn't think this is the case for us, but there's a bunch of paywall content out there too that's fairly bad. And as I said, I hope that's not the case for us. I do not believe whatsoever that that's the case for us. But if you want to, by no means do you have to, go in. I wouldn't do it today. Just being fully honest with you, I would not join the Patreon today. Getting the best value, I would join on January 1st. And I would spend 4 weeks diving deep. Listen to some of our old videos. For $10, you can have access to 4 hours of me in Discord, 4 hours of Jake in Discord, 3 years worth of backlog content, 100+ hours of recordings. And then you can ask us questions in Discord, ask everyone else questions in Discord. Like it's pretty crazy. But that said, right here, right now, you got the owner of CNA Games in here. You got me in here. You had Java earlier. You got Retro. Like, there's a lot of big people in here right now too for free. So that's what we're up against. We're up against all the plethora of free content out there. Unless you have an amazing name like Retrospecs. Dan's really gonna change his name so it fits on RuneScape. Shaking my head. I'm actually actively playing RuneScape right now. I have been the entire stream. Like right now, whenever I've looked where I'm looking right now, I'm looking at my screen. I've tried to do it minimally. I'm doing something in leagues right now. I can click a button and I can just not do anything for like 20 minutes. So I've only had to click a handful of times. I've probably clicked a little bit more than that. But yeah, I am going to be doing sometime in the next few weeks. The Christmas party we went to tonight was with a family, childhood, lifelong friends. My mom babysat the kids growing up. Kids are like brothers to me. Unfortunately, the sister to me wasn't there tonight. She had to travel back to college. But I grew up playing RuneScape with them. I grew up babysitting them, actually. They're several years younger than me. I grew up babysitting them, and we all don't tell Jagax because we account shared, which was not technically allowed, I don't believe. But we would take turns wood cutting and this and that, doing Slayer, doing all these different things, and going outside playing basketball, going swimming, and one person would always be like slaving away inside on the PC some of those summer days. It was crazy the amount of time we put in there. But yeah, the guys that I played RuneScape with growing up, some of the guys I played RuneScape with growing up, they're excited. They told me to link them when I do my RuneScape live stream because they're excited. Sometime in the next 3 weeks I have to do one because Leagues ends. Leagues ends in like 4 weeks. So I need to go run some Theater of Blood, and I will be running some Theater of Blood within the next few weeks. Don't buy from me. I don't have any product to sell you. What is the Bitcoin redemption rate for Dan promos? Yeah, you'd be eaten alive in fees. I'd pay out in USDC, 25 USDC per. Question for Dan, non-pillar. What's one item type you think will be newly graded in 2025? No insider info, but it would not shock me to get our first booster box grading. I think in tandem with Fanatics potentially teaming up, and maybe it's not Fanatics, maybe it's Heritage, maybe it's Golden. I think some major selling platform will team up with a grading card company, and if I had to guess, and again, like I have a relationship with Fanatics, I have no insider info from them though. I would not be shocked if it was CGC and Fanatics. If CGC and Fanatics partnered to authenticate and grade sealed product so that it could be sold on Fanatics Collect, that would not surprise me at all. Maybe it won't happen in 2025, but yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that happens. Richard Waters says Bitcoin will peak around November 2025, and yes, it will be a mill someday, no question. That is a confidence level that I do not have. I wish I had that confidence about anything in life. I do not have that confidence about anything in life. But hopefully you are a multi-millionaire many times over. What do you think of the mapping on Japanese sets? I don't know. All these different mapping, weighing, CT scanning. People make mountains out of molehills. I think a lot of these things don't ever amount to much, but people get really worked up about it and ask questions in live streams 50 times over. I think it's a nothing burger overall. I think that's always going to be like, oh man, did you see that this could be mapped, this could be weighed, this could be searched somehow. My take is like, I wish they would fix it. I wish they would make it so that wasn't the case, but yeah, I don't know. Grimer's trying to grade a screenshot of Bitcoin, grade some screenshots of Bored Apes. Bored Apes were the big NFTs a couple years ago, right? Mason sold 9 Terrestrial Festival boxes in store just today. Booming. Can you talk about the bad paywall content? Help the viewers out by saying names and save people some money. I genuinely don't know. So I'm actually in every month, January 1st, like the first of every month, I see a charge come through for Patreon. I'm in SM Pratt's Patreon. I've been in that for a long time. I still find value in his 2 or 3 times monthly videos. I think he has good insight into the market, and I get the money's worth out of what I pay. $10 a month, I think I paid him, maybe 15. I'm in Rudy's Patreon as well. I don't think I get quite as much value out of his Patreon specifically because he puts all his videos out on YouTube. So yeah, that one I'm in. I don't know why I'm in that one. It's not like he needs my money. I did actually. I will say, for the first time in a while. Where'd it go? I thought it was still right here, but I must have put it away already. I bought his Cryptid Nation First Edition bundle that he put together recently. I don't even know if it was an amazing deal, but I just wanted some more Cryptid Nation First Edition MetaZoo. Rudy was selling it, and I'm like, let me buy it. It seemed like a good enough deal, so I went for it. The Frisky Squid is also actively playing RuneScape. OSRS is definitely one of the best games of all time. I'm fighting Scurious, actually. So I'm just AFK fighting Scurious. Skaya's top ready. So Skaya, last night was a big night. Last night, I got a Primordial from Cerberus. I went and got Dragon Boots from a Spiritual Mage while I was doing my Sarah kill count for Commander Zilliana. I got Saradomin's Sword, Saradomin's Light, which don't matter, but they were tasks. But I got my crossbow. I got my Armadillo crossbow. So I'm not gonna go. I actually have the I have the Arma pet, so I'm not gonna go for like Armadillo. I'm not gonna go for range gear. I'm a melee build. I'm just gonna wear my Carols. I think I have a Carols top, but I'm doing Scurious right now. But yeah, I have full Guthans. I have full Darox. I'm AFKing Scurious with full Guthans. I was AFKing Cerberus without any healing, without anything. I could stand in the acid pools and I could out heal him. I actually got a Blood Fury earlier today too. I killed like maybe 50 or 100 the vampire people, and I got my blood shard very quickly. So I was spooned on that. I killed 150 bandos, Grador, and I didn't get the chest plate or their tassets. So I might just skip those. I don't want to, like, I guess I can just AFK them. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow while I'm working. I'll just have AFK bandos going on. But I'm catching all collectibles. ZNG is not in here. But I will answer these questions, assuming you're trying to ask me. But maybe you're trying to ask James. I don't know. I see some of your items selling via best offer accepted. I'm a consignor using your buy now service. How does /would best offer work for me? So just so we're clear, I'm Dan, Catch 'em all collectibles. James, ZNG Emporium, has his own YouTube channel. He's not really using it lately, but I don't know if he allows his consigners to do best offer, to be honest. I'm not sure. He might allow that. Maybe he's in here. Maybe he's already answered in chat. But I buy it now consigned with James. I also auction consigned with James. I've never done buy it now or best offer with him. See, it's $100 a year. I think it just went up to $120 a year, maybe. I underutilized my membership, but I'm gonna get back into playing it more. I love the game. I love the game so much. Stream leagues on prismatic release. That's hilarious. I might. I actually might. Like that might be the timing. That might be my last chance because do I spoil it? Should I spoil it? The week after prismatic release, there might be some event of some type going on that necessitates me traveling to some location where some independent contractor of mine may or may not be doing a dual stream of some large items with me. So I don't know if I stayed vague enough, but I guess I semi-spoiled what may or may not be taking place the week. So that's the week after, theoretically, maybe. That's the week after prismatic release. I put it in my calendar. I thought I put when Leagues ends. Let me see when Raging Echoes ends. When does Raging Echoes end? I'm gonna put it in my calendar now because January 22nd. So Raging Echoes actually ends. I might have to. I just put that. So Raging Echoes ends the Wednesday after prismatic release. I literally might be streaming while PK and Ponga are live on Fanatics. I'm gonna be live on YouTube streaming Theater of Blood. That's actually very likely, looking at the timing, which is hilarious to me. Um, yeah, I learned so much on the streets of Gillinor. I learned how to look out for scams. I learned how to merch. I learned how to flip. I learned how to scalp. Um, lots of good lessons. Goal setting, setting smart goals. My video that I made this Monday. I want to get my quest cape. I want to get 99 in this stat. I want to go get this drop from this boss. I want to get my bank value up to this. One funny bit of commentary. I've had this conversation with people before. I've heard other people talk about it too. But I know people in my real life that like if they put half the thought into their personal finance as they did into their RuneScape finance or as they do into their whatever other game they play, I don't know. If they put half the thought, half the goal setting, half the energy into their real life that they do into their video games, they would have cured cancer by now. They would be so much further ahead. It's kind of funny. It's kind of sad at times. Video games definitely take a backseat to my real life, but they are a good escape. They are a good escape. They are a good, like, that dopamine that you get from checking off those goals. That dopamine that you get when you get that pet, when you get that big drop. It's awesome. I love it. It's like, in a lot of ways, when you kill a certain boss in RuneScape, it rolls a big RNG wheel, kind of like opening a booster pack. Anytime you open a pack, about 1 in 1,000 times, you'll pull that big Pikachu. Go kill a boss in RuneScape. Go kill Hydra. 1 in 1,000 times, you'll get the Hydra's Claw, and then you can make the Dragon Hunter crossbow. It doesn't cost you any money, but maybe it costs you something worse than money. It costs you time, which you don't get back, right? So maybe ripping for the Moonbryon is more reasonable since you're not losing your time that you can't get back. The amount of times, like, I put a lot of people, a lot of time into this game over the years, but the amount of time that some people put into the game is like, if that's what makes them happy, like, that's great. But some of it is wild. Some of the numbers you see on Reddit and stuff. Still live. Only an hour and a half. This has been a short live so far. Very short live so far. I don't think you get their email address on TCG Player, but maybe you do. Skya can answer if he's still here. Skya, do you get customer email address on TCG Player when they buy something? I don't even know the answer to that. Retro's a ways behind. Retro said Brad would light up the chat on a Dan plus Dan's dad live. Let me know in the chat. Do you want me to stream live with my dad at the year anniversary of the palette. We could do a year, like here's a year long recap. Here's what it's done. I don't know how open he'll be, but we can talk about he has some silver in his portfolio. We can talk about like different things, the S&P 500, Bitcoin, silver, Pokemon. That could be a fun stream. We can talk about life. He talked about like, hey, maybe I'll just crash that at night. We'll have the Jack and Cokes out or something. So who knows? Maybe an inebriated Dan and Dan's dad stream could happen. I'm excited at the prospects. When making a play like buying all the felt hat Pikachu's on the market to grade, how do you source the cards? So I went to Chicago Collecticon. I intended to buy gray felt hats, but I did not know that I would find a sealed case of them. So I bought 400 of them in a sealed case. That was atypical. I do not do that all the time, but that was awesome. I was very happy to do that. But sometimes I just go and I buy every copy on TCG Player up to a certain point. I'm not doing like a buyout per se. I'm just buying all the ones that meet my metrics, all the one that I can get for a certain price. So yeah, that's the main way that I do it. Will we get Dan Carr lives in 2025? I've contemplated, I might do like a mower live someday. The thing is, like, I can't actually be mowing. No one would hear me. Unless I'm wearing, like, I would need to wear a soundproof astronaut helmet. I guess it would be apt because we're going to the moon. So maybe I could do an astronaut helmet mowing live stream with sound isolating astronaut helmet. Does answering questions for James make you want to turn the red lights on? No, I always have talked about services that I've used for free. I've always been a big walking billboard for eBay. They don't pay me to talk about them. I've always been a big walking billboard for Fanatics. Them, at least, I'm partnered with them. Like, I have a rate with them. I have a dealer rate. But I've always been happy to shout out people who do good business, and I use their services, and I'm happy. Appreciate you, Poke and Fun. Used all my affiliates on you. Got an SPN SAR to my Temporal Forces Temporal Forces box and a sealed lot of 4 Pogo for 35. That 21st and can't stack is a mess. You did it. Appreciate you, Poke and Fun. Thank you. Thanks for answering my question about ZNG. I thought he was in the chat. Thank you. Love your content. No worries. No worries whatsoever. Sorry I couldn't answer it confidently. I'm not entirely sure on his best offer, but yeah, no worries. You're on thin ice. This guy's a grouch. Are we getting $200 ETBs on release? I have no idea. That would blow my mind, but I mean, Hidden Fates went to 200-300 very quickly, so who knows? I'm not James. I'm way taller. I have a little bit more hair too. Look at how thin it's getting up there. It's getting thin. These are running back every time I cut it. These are back further, so I'm headed towards James' hairline. Pirate Software has a clip talking about how kids today need to get scammed in online games like we did to learn the lessons. Valuable lessons for sure. No one is selling sealed prismatic product. We're all breaking it down and selling packs for 15 each. I might be buying packs for 15 each. Like I'll be buying packs at 70 to 85% of market. Whatever I need to pay to get the packs for my streamers, I will be paying. It's a set that I have to have. It's a set that a lot of people will want. So whatever the market requires me to pay, I will pay. You got to. Oh, you don't get customer email addresses on TCG Player. Yes, we want a Dan and Dad stream. He might be listening. He listens from time to time. It's always interesting. It's always interesting, the MSRP conversation. People feel entitled to get stuff for MSRP. But then, as you said, a lot of those customers that will complain the loudest when product is above MSRP and people are selling for, like, people are scalping. Those will be the first customers to abandon an LGS when things are bad. Like, that's just the way that it goes. It is what it is. But I don't pre-sell anything. I never have. I never plan on it. And That's a huge reason why. Because the amount of vitriol that some people will spew thinking that they're entitled after not buying your product for years. Historically, when things come out cheap, they buy on eBay to save a buck, they buy on Amazon to save a buck, and then the second that you might be able to get them something cheaper, they raise a fit that you're not doing it, that you're not servicing them in the way that they want to be serviced. It's wild, the entitlement at times. That makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense that they would claim that it's for keeping customer data private and safe and blah blah blah, but it's so that you don't take people off platform more frequently. Because what people would do is they would mass email everyone. They would create their own email lists, and they would yeah, they would have the ability to contact people outside. David says you get the email if you use Binder POS. Richard says my buckets are main crypto portfolio, then PTC long-term savings account, then my silver bucket. Now my last bucket with small amounts into Pokemon. What percentage are you getting minty versus PSA 8 to 9s doing a TCG player buyout? It highly depends on the card. If you buy something that has a PSA 10 rate of 30%, you might get less than 10% PSA gradable cards. Because 30% isn't blindly buying on TCG player and grading everything. 30% is what people decided to send into PSA got 30% 10s. I mostly buy stuff like the Celebrations Charizard that has PSA 10 rates 60, 70%. So I might get, I made a video, actually, shout out to the Patreon. I made a video where I deep dove into exactly, I bought 100 cards blind, no pictures, no nothing, on TCG Player. I bought them blind, Celebrations Charizards, and I showed you exactly how many I graded with PSA, exactly how many I didn't grade and sold raw, exactly how many went everywhere. And it worked out to like, I made $300 an hour buying, grading, selling Celebrations Charizards, counting for the misses, counting for the 9s, counting for the 10s, counting for everything. So I made that video before. I talked about it in the paywall. My method for buying them on TCG Players in the paywall. I found the buckets very interesting and think this way now. That's awesome to hear. I like the fact that people take some benefit from the crazy financial conversations. Shout out to the buckets. Oh no, I don't have the buckets properly oriented. Let me fix the buckets for future use. You always have to have the buckets ready. So the buckets are very, very large right now from that one video that I did. I'm going to fix them just so we have them when we need them. There we go. We have them when we need them now. Always have to be ready. How did you go about finding or picking your streamers? Also, hi. Hello to you as well. So I have known and talked to and met in person PK and Ponga for quite a while. I don't remember. I'm so bad, but like I've been to so many conventions. I know people that go to all of them. I know people that are planning to go to 18 Collecticons in 2025. I'm gonna go to like 4, maybe 5. But I've been to 4 or 5 events every year for the past 2 years, and I can't remember which one's which. I don't remember which Collecticon I met Ponga at. I don't remember which Collecticon I met Retro at. I don't remember which one I met Mason, CNA Games at. I don't remember which one I met most people at. But at some point, actually, now that I say that, Denver. Denver is where I met PK, for sure. I do remember that one. Ponga, I don't remember. Ponga was it would have been more recently. Was it Charlotte maybe? He's gonna be mad at me. I'm sorry, Ponga. I love you. But maybe it was a Charlotte one. But anyways, yeah, I met him in person. I've talked with them a bunch online. I'm familiar with their channels and content outside of well, their channels and content inside of the space in Pokemon. And yeah, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. I think I'm confident enough to a level that I send multi tens of thousands of dollars of stuff and money to people. And at times my wife is like, "You doing what now?" Haven't been scammed massively yet, so hopefully that never changes. But yeah, I just know them from in-person conventions. have their phone numbers, talk with them on the phone, some text with them, some all different kinds of stuff. They both visited my house as well and spent the night at my house. Are you going to use the time you have to get your backlog organized since all your product is getting sent to streamers? I'm trying to. And I am succeeding. I am succeeding. It's not all gone yet, but it's being worked on extensively, not at the rate that I would like. But so every day I have a certain like hierarchy of tasks that I have to do. And the messages all have to get answered. The consignments have to get scheduled and paid. The shipments have to go out. Once all that stuff's done, I have to pay for the new shipments that came in. The shipments have to go to the streamers. Once all that stuff's done, I'm never looking for anything to do because by default, I go to the backlog. I go to like, let me find more packages to send to the streamers. Let me find more stuff to send along. And I've slowed my buying down to a level where, because even as recently as 6 months, a year ago, there would be certain weeks where I added to the backlog. By the time I did everything I had to do, I wasn't done. So things didn't get listed in time or whatever it may be. And there'd be cards that would sit, like I'd buy a collection and it would take me 6 months to listing it. I'm not really there anymore. Like every day I chip away to some extent. But yeah, that's the plan. The plan is sometime in 2025. That's part of my goal. If I remember to mention that in my 2025 goals video. I want to have like everything clean or like when I go to Rusty's, it's like this guy has his crap together. Even when I go to Nick's, like when I go anywhere else, it's like no one is as much of a hoarder as I am / was. And I need to fix that. It benefited me over the years. So like my hoarding was reinforced by the market's like, hey Dan, all that crazy backlog you built, we're going to make it worth a lot more money now. Be glad that you saved those empty boxes. Be glad that you saved those empty ETBs. Those are 2 things on my radar that I need to get listed. I guess let me do a little bit of plug right here. If you are in the market for a empty box, empty art sets of every pack, of every set ever, English, base set, first edition included. I didn't open that one myself. I bought that box empty. But Shadowless box, 4th print box, unlimited box, first edition jungle, first edition fossil, all the way. Maybe missing a couple of the Scarlet Violet ones, all the way to like Sword and Shield base. I guess I would safely say all the way through the end of Sun and Moon. I'm gonna be selling, as crazy as it sounds. That's a multi-$1,000 collection. That's like someone will pay me $5,000+ probably for every empty box, empty Expedition, empty Team Rocket Returns, empty Skyridge, empty Aquapolis. Most of those boxes are $300+ each empty. So those ones alone are worth a lot. I also have every empty ETB, empty Plasma Storm ETB. That's a crazy expensive ETB right now. I don't know what that goes for empty, but like probably over $1,000 in empty ETBs. I hoarded those things. Like I'm a crazy person, but I'm gonna be rewarded. So the doing that was like reinforced. It's reinforced in me. Like, hey, when I open this Surging Sparks booster box, should I keep the empty box? I don't anymore, but like I did for a long time. People in the same breath will say, I can buy this cheaper online, and then why are you selling above MSRP? If I wanted to pay that, I'd buy it online. Yeah, absolutely. Very oxymoronic. 300 an hour selling Zards is bonkers. It is, absolutely. The financial conversations, would you say that's advice? I always tell people, as I always do, disclaimers, caveats, I always say run stuff by a financial advisor, run stuff by your accountant, whoever. Keep going, Dan, I'm only 30 minutes behind. If Retro's on 2x, it takes you 30 minutes to cover 30 minutes of backlog on 2x. So maybe we'll still be live then, but we probably won't be. More than just a Pokemon channel, good life advice as well. Hopefully it can be entertaining, educational, positive things to some extent. Dan, happy holidays. Inside your opinion, why do you think Pokemon doesn't do more Ash trainer cards? I don't know. I don't know why they did like Red's Pikachu. They have done some Ash's Pikachu, those like I Choose You movie promotional things. But I don't know why they don't do more Ash. They do Red and Blue. They did Ash's Greninja, Ash's Pikachu. They've done a couple, but like minimal, and I have no idea why. Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles says retrospects for all your Japanese needs. Mwahaha. Oh, that's hilarious. I genuinely have no idea who runs the Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles account. It looks like the current avatar though. That looks like a close up on James's face. So the Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles account is run by well, it's got a close up screenshot of James's face. Oh, it's hilarious. My Roka, Suskaya, my Roka has been transitioned to TCG player pricing, which will be nice, but it's not working right now. I can't get it to work. I have my handy dandy little tablet thing here. I've tried and failed for like a couple hours the past week. Resetting, rebooting, updating. I'm gonna have to reach out to them. I feel dumb. I don't know if I'm missing something easy, but like I can't get my Roku to work right now. It sucks. And I have a couple guinea pigs that I need to sort. I need to sort these cards for someone and then pay them for them. So like before I do any of your stuff, I'm gonna have to two people. I have two guinea pigs who sent me a bunch of raw that they didn't want to itemize. They didn't want to scan in TCG Player Collector. So I'm gonna scan and then pay them. But I told them like, hey, it might be a minute. I can't scan. I can't Roka right now. What will people's biggest mistake be when things cool off in the market? Some people will get burned by overextending. One of my biggest mistakes has been not going harder at stuff, which is scary, which is crazy. Like my biggest mistake in the past 2 months was not buying all 5 of these. Was only buying one. As crazy as that is. But at some point, there will be people that over leverage themselves. There will be people that go in too hard, and Pokemon will recoil. Pokemon will recoil to some extent. It will slow down a little bit. There will be boxes available on eBay for $90, $100 shipped again, and some people will be paying 30% carrying costs, 30% APR on their credit cards while that's happening, thinking that it was going to be the next sure thing, thinking that it was going to be something crazy. Maybe they'll be buying $200-$300 prismatic ETBs that 3 years, 4 years, 5 years later are $200. Look at Hidden Fates right now. I mean, look at, people don't like it, but this could be Vivid Voltage 2.0. In 3 years, this could be $100 to $120, $140. So if you're buying at wholesale or close to it, you're quite a bit safer. But if you're paying like $120, $100 ETB pre-order prices for prismatic, you might double your money. But you're also playing with fire. You're also playing with fire, especially if you're doing it with other people's money on margin. So some people's biggest mistake will be doing things on margin. It works until it doesn't, and then it can get really ugly. Others will be not going hard enough, and man, I wish while the getting was good, I wish I got more of it. They said DBZ, so it probably is Kai. It's probably Kai. Oh crap! we found him out. Retro unmasked him. You think Gold Stars from Crown Zenith is the new boom in cards coming next? The gold cards? I don't know. It blows my mind. The pops on all these cards, yet the cards are going up like crazy. Blows my mind. I don't know. I'm just riding the wave. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have an 8-ball like PK and Nostalgianomics do. Tax question. I saw someone say if you report on cash basis, you can just offset capital gains with cost of new purchases. There is no way that is true, is there? Thought only capital losses allowed. So cash basis, you don't offset capital gains with cost of new purchases necessarily. The way that you're wording that is a little bit, semantics are important when you're talking about taxes. So if you start your bank account, if you start the year with your bank account at 50 grand and you buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and at the end of the year you have 150 grand in your bank account, cash basis doesn't care about the inventory value. Cash basis doesn't care about cost of goods sold. You don't have to maintain an inventory. Your bank account went up by 100 grand, so you owe taxes on 100 grand in gains. If you instead, tomorrow, buy 100 grand worth of stuff, you wash out all your gains, and then you have zero money to pay taxes on. You have zero money, zero gains to pay taxes on. So if that's what you mean by offsetting capital gains with cost of new purchases, yes. If you mean something else, then maybe no. But yes, you write off purchases at the time that you buy them. Accrual basis. So say you have 50 grand to start the year. You started with 100 grand in inventory, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell all year long. You end the year with 100 grand in inventory and 150 grand. Your inventory changed nothing. Your cost of goods sold, whatever it was, take your buys, take your sells. But you netted 100 grand and you got to pay tax on 100 grand. Now, in that same scenario, you buy 100 grand on tomorrow, on December 27th. You still owe gains on 100,000 because your inventory start was 100. Your inventory end was 200 now in this new scenario. And you don't write off any of that new inventory until it's sold. So in the case of cash basis, spending 100 grand at the end of the year lowers what you pay taxes on by that 100 grand. Doesn't lower your taxes by 100 grand. It lowers what you pay taxes on by 100 grand. In the accrual basis, that doesn't change anything. You don't write that off till you sell it. So very drastic differences. Depending on your goals, whether you're cash or accrual basis is one of the single most important decisions people will make. People always think about LLC, sole proprietor. They have no idea what they're doing. So they just YOLO into an LLC having no idea what it means. And they're not paying attention to like, am I cash or accrual basis? The first thing you should be figuring out is, are you going to be cash or accrual basis? That is like a single most relevant data point, not data point, but like single most important thing to decide for your business. And people are out here getting LLCs, having no idea what it means, having no need for it whatsoever. It's crazy how deep people will dive in, not knowing what they're doing. What value does a card have to be worth putting in a card saver? That's a very personal thing. I don't know what card savers cost. What do they cost? 10 cents? I buy 2,000, less than 10 cents, 5 cents maybe. I think I buy 2,000 for $100. Does that sound right? Maybe, maybe not. But whatever you deem worthy of that. What like, yeah, whatever you want to do. Thought this was a pre-recorded video. LOL. Do we keep riding the Altar's rocket ship into the future, or is it better to take the profits in the next few years when they get too high to sell easily? I don't hold on to cards. I sell cards and I buy sealed. The only money that I have like longer term in cards is in sealed product. I don't speculate in cards really, graded or sealed. Sometimes I get really lucky and I benefit. Like I bought this as strictly a flip play. This was not bought in an investment play. I'm getting tons of like gains based on the card going up, but that's by pure chance. Yeah, you can't just lose money forever. It's not like some infinite money glitch to just lose money, lose money, lose money. You're rich, buy a crystal ball. I do think Surging Sparks will be Vivid Voltage 2.0. The $7 Pikachu looks 80% similar to the $500 SIR. Not enough differentiation. IMO, you compare the 151 SIRs and IRs. Completely unique artwork. Yeah, by no means do I think it will 100% mimic Vivid Voltage. I got a real chuckle out of people being so defensive. Like, don't call Surging Sparks Vivid Voltage 2.0. What are you doing? How could you ever make a comparison between two sets that both feature Pikachu, by two sets that both went to $200 very quickly out of the gate after release, by two sets that both had Pikachu on the ETB? It's like, making a comparison doesn't mean they're the same thing. Like, people are so lost on nuance. People are like, it's 0 or it's 1. It is black or it is white. It is binary. I was actually just having a conversation with the childhood friends I talked about earlier. They are faced with like, do they want to a little bit of money they have to throw into the markets. Do they want to lump some of the money into the markets all at once, or do they want to spread it out over time, dollar cost average in? And I said, as in true Dan fashion, I said it depends. The answer is always it depends. And I said, if like, depending on how much money it is, depending if you're following it up with more money, yada yada yada. But I said there's always an in between too. You don't have to lump sum it all or lump sum none of it. You can lump sum half and then dollar cost average the rest. Like, look, there's almost always an in between option that you can take. And when making a comparison between Surging Sparks and Vivid Voltage, they can be similar in that they have all those same characteristics that I just said. That doesn't mean they're going to be identical. But the issue that people get butthurt about the comparison is they have this today at 200 and they're scared that it's going to fall to 120. They're scared that it's going to fall, and it might not. I don't know. No one knows. We won't know until it happens, and then it will have been obvious. What are you going to do when this chat size doubles? I don't think I'm at risk. Like, it did double. So this chat size did double. Right now, as of today, I can keep up with chat and I can answer every question. There have been times where it's been tough. There's been times where I've had to go live longer. There's been times where I've had to give shorter answers. Someday, like theoretically, in this future where Dan has 500 live viewers, I'll have to go to a pay-to-play model. Brad would love it. Brad G Cards would, he'd be absolutely in shambles. I would have to read super chats only. Like, if I had 5,000 live viewers, take it to an extreme, you'd have to read super chats only. You'd have to set some barrier to, like, if I'm going to answer a question. But as of right now, it's free on YouTube. It's $10 a month in Discord, Patreon, and it's $100 an hour for consults one-on-one. Those are all my options. Someday, maybe the free options go away. If I grew big enough, theoretically, I would have to, like, supply and demand, I would have to raise my prices above free, and I would have to say that you have to super chat $5 to have your question answered. I'm at no risk of doing that anytime soon, so don't be worried. Cash basis number one. Yeah, the cash accrual is if you're a business, if you're a consumer, a collector, a hobbyist only, none of that's relevant. If Mewtwo V-Star GG44 is selling for 220 to 240, let's hope the market doesn't cool off anytime soon. What are you yapping about Vivid Voltage 2.0? SS is miles ahead of Vivid Voltage. Can you believe Black and White Legendary Treasures booster box hit 4.5K? They were in the mid 2K at the start of the year. It is wild what so many things in the hobby are doing. We got Michael Lee doing the $1 super chat. So Michael Lee, your $1 super chat that you did not have to buy, that buys you an answer to any question you want to ask. I am going to wrap up soon. We're at 2 hours. 2 hours feels like a good number to stop at. I do have a long day tomorrow. I have a lot of work to do. And then I'm actually going to my parents. So Christmas Eve, we did my aunt's and then my wife's aunt. Christmas Day, we did our house, then my wife's grandparents' house, then my grandparents' house. Tonight, we did family friend's house. Tomorrow night, we're doing my parents' house. Sunday, we're doing my wife's parents' house. So it is a crazy week of Christmas activities, but it's an awesome week. Love seeing everyone. Love seeing the kids get excited about all the gifts. But yeah, Michael Lee buying super chat early before the hype train goes to the moon. So Michael Lee is investing early in the super chats. I appreciate you. Very much appreciated for the Christmas present $1 super chat. CGC or PSA? Both. I like to have every flavor. Unfortunately, no, I do. Here it is, right here. So I have a PSA 10 flavor right there, and I have a CGC 10 pristine flavor here. And then I have a BGS flavor, BGS 10 pristine here. So every company is worth grading with. Every company is worth grading with, for sure. What is your plan with Prismatic Evolution sealed and any sealed Japanese plays planned for 2025? I'm going to buy all my Japanese sealed through underscore retrospects on Instagram, and I will have PK and Ponga selling them on Fanatics Collect. Feel free to use the link in the description below if you are interested. I do set some back, so stay tuned. Stay tuned for my future eventual live stream with my dad. We will talk about our sealed investment pallets, but I will be investing by the pallet in some amount of Japanese product, some amount of English product. I will be splitting that with my dad. I will be doing what I've been doing this year. Bigger, better next year, hopefully. No chance Surging Sparks is better than 151. Not even close. Just came. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying Surging at its current price. I'm not selling all of it. I have 4 on my pallet. I have a couple more pallets, but like I'm buying it at 70-75% to immediately sell back into the market. I'm not buying any new holdings to strictly hold. Pat Flynn can't keep up with just chat memberships and gifts. Yeah, it's at some point like you just can't. I guess you could set a threshold. I think I have a way to look. I have a way to look at fan funding, and I think you can set a threshold to even a higher level of fan funding to where you'd only see certain levels. And I see this new goal thing. Make super chat more fun with a goal. Pick a goal. I can pick a goal for 10 super chats. That's the only thing it lets me. Choose the super chat colors that count. So right here, I could say that like $50 and only for my super chats to count. I don't get many. I've gotten 2 super chats tonight. I think those are the first 2 super chats I've gotten in months. I get gifted memberships on occasion, but yeah, I don't get super chats that often, which is perfectly fine because like it's free. I answer all the questions, so there's no need for it. And Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles says best way to avoid tax. Avoid. He used the right word, so I appreciate you, Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles. Using the right word, semantics are important. Avoiding tax is big. Evading is the bad one. I can almost guarantee, please don't super chat it unless you want to. Follow-up question from Evil Catch 'em All Collectibles will be what is the best way to evade tax? Because he asked it wrong. He or she asked it wrong. But yeah, the best way for me to avoid tax, one of them, is as corporation. As corporation, you avoid paying payroll tax. You avoid paying FICA taxes on the amount that is after paying my reasonable salary. I pay FICA taxes on all that, but the rest of it goes as a distribution to me. So that is a legal loophole, tax avoidance, not evasion. I think you were seeking evasion though, but maybe not. Yeah, have everything for sale all the time, roll profits into cards. That's how I grew. I started with $5,000 10 years ago, and I don't have the peak of what I've ever had anymore. I've sold a lot. I've taken a lot of money out of the hobby, but I started with $5,000. I put in many, many thousands of hours buying, selling, growing it. And I've taken out high 6 figures. I've amassed more than 7 figures. If I love a card, I can always buy it in the future. Yes, most of these things are extremely mass-produced, very replaceable. Lucky Bunny TCG says, consultations, do you have a place where we can read what that entails? What it entails is entirely like we go into a one-on-one Discord call, Zoom call, whatever platform works best for you. And I've done a phone call with some people too. They don't want to do video, which is fine. Ask me anything. Here, you can ask me anything, but it's in front of everyone. Like some people have shared with me intimate financial details. They like this much is in my bank account, this much is on this much is here, this much is there. What would you do? So a lot of my consults are very finance and tax based. A lot of them are very heavy towards those fronts. But like sometimes it's like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this collection. Let me see your processes at work. Let me see how, like, what would your thought processes be? How would you start to parse this out? How would you start to value this? What would you do if you were in my shoes? I've done lots of different things. So feel free to email me. Feel free to DM me on Instagram, Discord, if you want to set one of those up. But if not, I'm talking free on YouTube every week too. So some questions just people don't want to give specifics of their scenario. I always say it depends. So a lot of times what we'll do in a consultation is we'll get into the nitty gritty of what depends. Like, hey, What's best to buy? What's best to sell? Well, it depends. We'll get into the it depends in an hour-long consultation most times. Pokin Fun says, didn't know these were so important to you. I appreciate you, Pokin Fun. Oh, man. How's it going, Cubonus Metal? Nice to see you. Shane says, want to buy FS packs. Fusion Strike, Flashfire, probably Fusion Strike. What should I do with poor condition bulk? Just donate to the thrift. Yeah, I don't know. At some point, like it becomes diminishing returns trying to put your time and effort and energy into selling stuff. So I have 5-row boxes and I pile them to the ceiling. At some point, I should find someone to donate a bunch of stuff to. I send a bunch with my wife to school, but she can only take too much. I'd probably get in trouble with her students' parents if I sent too much. Question you mentioned earlier, you're selling surging. Is that including what you have for the pallet or just the other product for breaks? So I started with 38 cases. I have 4 cases on the pallet that I have with my dad. I think I have 3 or 4 cases otherwise. All the other ones are gone. I sold some through eBay. And generally speaking, I wouldn't sell through eBay. The only reason I did is because the prices went up so quick. And I never set. Like some people set like when it doubles, I'll sell. In 5 years, I'll sell. I never set any hard and fast metrics. I do it by feel. I do it by gut instinct. This feels too expensive. So I sold a bunch of it. I didn't sell all of it, but I sold most of it. And if and when it reprints, I'll buy my full allocation. Maybe it will be enough, maybe it won't be. But I need it for streams though too. So I'm constantly buying more back for streams. I sold some at a 100% of market when it was 1,000 a case. And now I'm buying some back at 80% of market when it's 1,200 a case. So it's like I lost money in hindsight based on what I netted versus what I'm paying today. But like I didn't know that was going to happen. You'll never know that's going to happen. So yeah, you just do the best you can do. FS is Fusion Saga. Okay, it's definitely Kai. It's definitely Kai. We got him. Step 1, get an accountant for sure. Dan planning out for a theoretical future where maybe he can't even keep up with super chats when he's amazed at 3-digit viewers is totally on brand. Yeah. We're at no risk of me not answering every question anytime soon. My live stream viewership has doubled. I mean, it was nearly quadruple for that one night, the peak night. And I've still answered everything. So to date, through 2024, this is my last live stream of 2024. And I've answered, I might have missed some accidentally when the chat jumps, whatever. But I've answered every question. I've not outgrown it. I don't think I'll outgrow it in 2025. And if I do, praise Arceus and bless the hobby. Because we are booming if I ever get to where I can't. Pokemaniac says, I just picked up some cases of Japanese Surging Sparks, Supercharged Breaker. Good play ammo. Wish I bought more. Yeah, I buy Supercharged Breaker through Retro. Did I? Oh, I haven't yet. Actually, I'm gonna make note of that. Retro, when you catch up. We talked a little bit ago when you were sold out shortly of Supercharged Breaker. I talked about getting some for PK and Ponga, but I want to do that now that they're back in stock. Now that you have a price back up on your story, I'm going to get some of each to Ponga and PK. So, question, do you anticipate having to go to Collecticons this year to source, or do you think your current platform advertising will keep up with the stream's demand? I think I have plenty of sourcing, just the way that I'm doing. I might source some at conventions, but I'll honestly be looking for more like this. I'll be looking for more high-end. I'll be looking for more slab optimization. I'll be looking for more grading plays. Some stream opportunities might find me, but I won't be looking for them as much, I don't think, because buying singles and slabs, like, if I need more, I just pay a higher percentage. Sure, I might be able to get some deals, but, like, I don't think in 4 conventions I can feasibly, physically get all that I would need for the year's worth of live streams. So I'm always going to have some amount online. Pokemaniac says, last question for me. Are you invested in any other collectibles such as coins, comics, etc.? So I have no comics whatsoever. I do have some coins. I wouldn't call my coins investing. I would call my coins collecting. I have like a multi 4-figure Stein collection. Stein and Brewery related collectibles. beer stuff, trays, signs, displays, lights, uh, coins. I have multi 4-figure. Neither would be in the 5-figure. Silver and gold, precious metals, higher 4-figures. Video games, I wouldn't call them a collection per se, but I probably have multi 4-figures and video games, sealed, uh, Game Boy Color. I have just a bunch of different systems and games. But Pokemon vastly higher than everything else. Getting close. S&P 500, my tax advantage buckets will maybe in 2025 be surpassing my cardboard investments through two facets. Through maxing out my buckets again next year, 401k and IRA, my wife doing the same, and a combination of getting through more of my backlog and carrying less inventory. Just selling my trophies, I sold 60, 70 grand between my Trophy Pikachu and my Art Academies. And somebody talked about doing a recap of that, and I forgot to. Crap. Let me very quickly, we'll do a recap of that. And I see more questions coming in, so I'm gonna get stuck here longer than I thought I was going to, which is fine. Weekly auction 153, catch 'em all collectibles filter. So let's do a very quick recap. So part of my traditional investments surpassing my Pokemon, and I don't know for sure, but it probably will happen. So here's my Trophy Pikachu that I sold, 28 grand. Here is one of my Art Academies that I sold, $12,000, 11,700. I'm not going to show everything. I'm just going to show the higher end. So none of these three were paid, full disclosure. But there's 30, 40, 48. I haven't even done this math yet. This was mine. This was not paid yet. So 55, 60. This was not an investment piece. This was not a collection piece. This was a flip play. So where were we at? So 30, 40, 48, 55, 60, 65, 73. This was mine, but this was not, again, this was just a flip play. So a little, like 70 grand. I sold 70 grand. And that's not directly going into the 401ks and stuff. But yeah, we don't need to too extensively recap that because most of those weren't even paid yet. So I don't even know if those are real yet. Hopefully they are, because I'd like that liquidity. But that money isn't directly going into my 401ks and IRAs, but money is fungible. So it's like I'm gonna put in approximately 70K next year. Is it that 70K? Is it a different 70K? Well, it's all the same thing. So some amount of it is, some amount of it isn't then, I guess. But with that coming out of my Pokemon portfolio that used to be there, 70 grand just got yoinked out of my like long-term, short, medium, long-term Pokemon holdings. So yeah, if the stock market goes up 20% again next year, traditional investments will almost surely surpass Pokemon holdings. But as of right now, they still haven't. But it's pretty close. Thoughts on channeling and condensing all my slabs into one huge Grail slab? I used to be less is more. I used to very much enjoy having like a wide variety. I like the PSA 9s, all the PSA 9s over the PSA 10s because you get more. But at some point it becomes cumbersome. I had, at my peak Collector Boy Dan, I had 370 WotC first edition cards. I had all 27 gold stars. I had all 100 and whatever old school EXs. I had all however many Legends cards there were. All of them in PSA 9. Way too many cards. Like 500, 1,000 cards, way too much for me. So again, it doesn't have to be binary. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Get one big slab and then a small handful of smaller medium slabs. You can always go in between. You can always half-ass it, right? Does this cycle just continue forever? If it cools off next year, everyone leaves, and the people who stay and build win again next round, rinse, repeat till the end of time. So if Pokemon continues to grow, yes, but what people don't realize, 10,000 is the new 100 pop. Like, pops don't matter. Supply doesn't matter. All those things are great and well and fine as long as the hobby's growing. We're at, like, the summit of what the hobby has ever been. If 10 years from now, A lot of people come and go, but significantly more go than come. And the hobby's down here printing only 5 billion cards a year. Like if the hobby greatly retracts, a lot of people are going to have a bad time. It's not going to be like it is now. It is like it is now because it's been on the huge upswing. And hopefully that continues. Hopefully they're printing 20 billion cards a year, 5-10 years from now. But we don't know that. So we'll have to wait and see. Thoughts on what to do for a beginner? Should I go straight into grade flipping? Should I get a PSA membership? Just flip singles? Try a little bit of everything to an extent. Try your hand at everything. See what you enjoy, see what you don't enjoy, see what you're good at, see what you're not good at, and learn the whole way. Learning, fail forward, all the different cliche things that they say. Every time you make a mistake, that will be the best teacher you ever have. So enjoy your time. Learn a little bit of everything. Try some grading, try some, that's how I did it. Some people say find your niche, dominate it, riches are in the niches. I like doing a little bit of everything. I always have. What would you recommend smaller tubers stores do to network at a CollectiCon? I would think it's difficult to bring anything unique to anyone's table, but it seems often recommended to do. Shout out to Professor Oak's Discord. Shout out to Java has his own Discord. Tons of people have their own Discord. And I think they're all great for meeting people. By no means do you have to pay to meet people. But like the Pokenomics Patreon is a really good community of people as well. I shout out the free ones first because I don't want to feel like you have to pay to be friends with people. But if you do join the Pokenomics Patreon, amongst all the other ones, you'll meet a lot of cool people. You'll meet a lot of people that go to a lot of events, and you'll likely cross paths with them at some point. So shout out to all the Instagram communities, Facebook communities. E4 is how I met my first people. I crossed that hurdle. I cleared that hurdle talking to Zach, talking to Nick, talking to Rusty, talking to all these people online before I went to 2018 Nashville Worlds. And yeah, like put yourself out there. Go meet people. I don't have any St. Gaun's Double Eagles. I owned one once and I broke even on it after like 2 years. But I have like Mercury Dimes. I have the Whitman folder, Wheat Pennies. I have a lot of different things. And I would love to expand that in the future. Any luck cross-grading the CGC Gem Mint 10 to PSA 10? The price difference is massive sometimes. Many CGC 10s used to be PSA 9s. But many PSA 10s used to be PSA 9s. And many CGC 10s could be PSA 10s. It's the game that we play, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. 28K to me doesn't feel low. I expected 30-ish. 28K is definitely 30-ish. So I was happy with the results. I was right on with the trophy card. The Art Academies went a little bit above expectations. So when I sent them to auction, I knew the range could be like 50 to 100 grand, which is a wide range. But as I totaled them up to, it's like 70 grand. It's right in that range. It felt reasonable. Do I wish it was more? Yeah. Do I wish I had sold the trophy in hindsight for 50 grand to Rusty? Obviously. But it is what it is. You can't win them all. I sold some significantly higher than they would go for today. So I sold my 4 for 40 grand. My 3 didn't just sell for 40 grand. So I did really well on the 4. And I bought that card for 6 grand with all the festivals years ago. So I made a lot of money on that card still. It is what it is. You can't win them all. You're not going to time them all perfect. But we keep reaching new summits, so that's a good trend line. Yeah, but at some point, might take 1,000 years. At some point, Pokemon will die. It'll outlive me, I believe. Firmly. I hope I live another 50 plus years, and I think Pokemon will live a lot longer than that. But will Pokemon be around in 5,000 years? I would lean towards no. That's a long time. Everything will be different. It won't be around at the heat death of the universe. So let's start there. Let's start 100 billion years in the future, or whenever that is. The heat death of the universe, Pokemon will not be around. Somewhere in between, it's going to die. I don't know when, where, how, but at some point there will be some pain for people who are deeply invested in Pokemon. Hopefully hundreds of years away. This is not a giveaway. I do have Sceptiles, but I do not have Sceptiles to give away. It is a good Pokemon. It's good to make different mistakes. Just don't keep making the same ones. Absolutely. For sure. I appreciate you guys being here. With that, I finally, for the first time, I made it to the end of chat. I was within like 3 comments from the end of chat a couple times tonight, but that is the first time I got to the last one. Um, I have no idea what the price is for a master set of Sceptile. I don't know what grade you're talking about, but anyways, I'm gonna end there since I caught up with chat before more questions come in. Happy New Year to everyone next week. I will be going live probably next Thursday. So it will be 2025 when I see you guys live next. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, happy all the things that you celebrate, happy holidays. But yeah, I very much appreciate it. You don't pay for the Patreon, you get the heat death answer. That's hilarious. I very much appreciate everyone hanging out. Happy holidays. Here's to a happy, healthy New Year.